video today, I'm going to be talking about what it takes to become an effective leader. And this comes from the years of trial and error that I have had, all the mistakes that I have made, so that hopefully you don't have to incur them as well. Most people that are successful experience feelings of self-doubt and insecurity because they care. A lot of people ask me, how do you overcome imposter syndrome? Because maybe they're starting a business for the first time, they feel inadequate, or they feel like they're doubting themselves. And what I say is, good fucking luck, because I still feel that way. Like, I think it's such a misconception that people don't feel these feelings, and that's why they accomplish these things. I absolutely still have those feelings. I've had 3 businesses. Now we have acquisition.com. So do I believe I could become a billionaire? I have more belief now than I did before, but do I like fully believe it's going to happen? I don't think I'll feel that until it happens. You need to accept that those things are gonna be there and those feelings will be there, and trying to get rid of them is a waste of time. Beating yourself up is not productive, and I tended to do that a lot to myself. I remember like getting Glassdoor reviews that were like, young, dumb founders. It fucking sucked. It felt like a knife. I am working my ass off, and I'm not letting the failure stall me. The less you beat yourself up, the more you take that same energy and you put it towards finding a new solution, the better you become. What's the biggest mistake of inexperienced leaders? It's actually that they don't know how to manage the dichotomy of holding people accountable, but also being kind. So they tend to go really far in one way or the other. Either they're very mean and they're punishing and they rule with fear, and so people do things because they're scared of them, not because they respect them. Because of that, you're always in the dark about your company's real problems. Everybody just does what you say. They don't ever express their own opinion. They don't ever tell you the truth about what they really think. On the other end of the spectrum, you have people who are so nice that they coddle everybody. When you coddle people, you tend to give people a false sense of security because they're not really in tune with what their performance really looks like. An inexperienced leader doesn't know how to meet in the middle. I tended to be on like the coddling side. In the beginning, had one-on-ones with people on the team. I would never tell them if I felt like something could improve because I felt like that was punishing. I've learned how to give feedback in a way that encourages people rather than punishes them and makes them feel less than. Executive presence is a sense of confidence that you only gain through experience. Oftentimes when somebody doesn't have executive presence, it's because they aren't putting themselves in enough of those situations. They're not speaking up enough, they're not having enough of the hard conversations. They tend to like back off. I think most people don't ever gain this because they're too afraid to fail in front of others. I mean, I do it all the time. Maybe even when I'm having an off day, I say something stupid in front of the team, but like, I get right back up. I will either apologize, I'll say, oh, I missaid that. Oh, maybe I meant this instead. People with executive presence advocate for themselves and they act in a way where others can feel their sense of self-belief. Asking people for their insight is the most valuable thing you can do. And the more people you ask, you will see the pattern more clearly and it'll become clear to you what you need to do. We tend to underestimate somebody's feedback to us if we feel like, oh, maybe they're not as smart as me, or like they're not in my role, so they don't know. If they're not the CEO of a company, they can't give me feedback. I think the best feedback I've ever gotten has been from people that are like 2 layers removed from me in the company. I think sometimes the people with the best feedback are the ones who don't spend as much time with you. Learn the lesson and move on. The only way to gain some of these skills is to make the mistakes and experience it for yourself. Being great doesn't mean not making mistakes. In fact, to be great, you will make more mistakes. I used to think I was like an exception to the rule and that I could somehow find a way to be the one who didn't have to make mistakes. And then I looked at some of the most iconic leaders over time and they've made huge mistakes. You can't ask for the wisdom without incurring the mistakes that create the lessons to gain the wisdom. The bigger the goal is and the better you want to be, the more you have to accept that you're gonna have to eat shit to get there. There's a lot of things that make someone a great leader. If you look at like the best leaders in the world, they have a clear vision of where they're going and they're able to communicate that vision to others. If I think of the best leaders that I know and that are probably like pretty iconic, it's like they have a very big vision that people can get behind. People get behind it because they know that they also care about them.